episode of Minnesota Liberty podcast, sponsored by the Libertarian Party of Minnesota. I am one of your hosts, Rebecca, and I have TJ with me. And I guess I just realized I'm a little out of touch doing this. I forgot to do the 15-second countdown, but whatever.
We're here.
Yeah, we have been at the state fair the last few weeks, and so things have been a little busy, so didn't have time to do everything. Set the podcast aside for a couple of weeks, and now we're back. And a lot has happened in just in like the last 7 days. A lot has happened. So that's what we're going to cover this evening. Talk about the Charlie Kirk assassination, the connection with, is Israel and Mossad.
Allegedly.
Yeah, we don't want to see any. So if you see any like red dots, I'll watch your face. You watch mine. And then talk about the Project Arctic Frost now that they're talking about. So Senator Chuck Grassley and others, we're going to play a video clip and see what's going on, because a lot has happened. And we were just saying before we went live, does anybody even remember about the Epstein list? Or is that just too old news at this point? Like, just things keep coming out, and now Epstein who?
Yeah, big distractions all around, man. And, all kinds of speculations too. And I don't know, allegations, whatever you say, when we're speculating and coming up with conspiracy theories. And there's all kinds of back and forth between some of the folks that we normally like to listen to and watch. And so, well, let's chat about it, right? So what was the first thing you wanted to talk about?
Yeah, the Charlie Kirk assassination, which is, the United States isn't, we're not immune to politically motivated assassinations. You have JFK, RFK, you have like any number of presidents that have died.
MLK.
Yeah, Martin Luther King. There's others. And so this isn't like, but it is still shocking,
Oh, yeah. Well, and I think everyone, any one of those moments that we just mentioned, everyone probably has, if they were around when that happened, which I wasn't, and you weren't, knows where they were when that happened, right? Like, we know what happened on 9/11. All around, man. And
oops, sorry.
Yeah, okay.
Like, sure, turn on.
So, it became, whether it was the social media just explosion or, everybody has their own theory of why they want to blame somebody else for not being as overly emotional over this or that, or why you're making such a big deal over this. Well, I'll tell you what, I think Dave made a great comment, Dave Smith, right away, is these guys are on these programs and we watch them all the time and we feel like we know them. And you know what? If you're an honest and true person, you really do know them. You know what I mean? Where the folks that we can see are fake as hell, they're just, I don't know. We don't really relate to them. Also, the fact that this was in front of so many people, live assassination, and the videos just went viral all day for a couple days. And I felt sick. I really did. And it made me emotional. And again, like, wait a second. I don't really know this guy, but I absolutely know what he stood for. And I know that he, as we get into the Malcolm X, that's another one that was,
yeah.
And so, but as we get into talking about whatever allegations that, or, connecting whatever dots, we got to keep our confirmation biases in check. We got to think about facts and whatever. But here's the effing thing. What kind of facts are we going to get from the FBI?
Nothing. Again, ever. Nothing.
Right. Just like what we mentioned in the intro, Arctic Frost, what the FBI is up to. So, yeah. What were you doing last Wednesday when you got the news?
Well, we were, because we still have storm damage, from that storm in Bemidji in June. So we were rebuilding our woodshed.
I know it's kind of a stupid question to ask you what you're doing. You're definitely working out. in the yard and doing something around the house.
Outside, yes. And yeah, my phone, I didn't have it on me, but it was, nearby, like on a pile of lumber or something. And it just kept beeping and beeping and like, like your text message beeping. And I was like, I'm busy. I'm going to ignore it because I've learned this summer, especially, like there's times I just turn my phone onto silent so nobody can get in touch with me, And but it just kept, like, it was like just blowing up. And so finally we took a break for a second. I went over, I looked at my phone, and I just messages from people and like all kinds of things, and opened up Facebook, and it was all there. And I was just like, holy cow. And when my friends was with me, I was like, Charlie Kirk was just assassinated.
Yeah.
And then I don't know, I feel a little strange about these kinds of things. I don't have like a I don't know, maybe it's like the former medic in me, that's just learns how to like compartmentalize that.
Absolutely.
But I did go and watch the video, because somebody had a close up of him when the shot happened, right? And because there were some questions, like I got in touch with our vice chair of our party, and it was like, well, let's confirm, that he's actually gone first, before, like, I mean, it looks like, the way, like from a distance, the shot when he was hit, and his body just kind of lurched backwards.
Mm-hmm.
You could tell it was bad. But then when I saw the close-up video, and his neck just kind of exploded, and just started like spurting out. I was like, oh, he didn't even know he died. That's how fast that he died. He didn't even know that there was a problem, and all of a sudden he was dead.
Yeah.
And whatever you believe in and whatever is after this, like he was already like having to navigate that before shock even fully set in to any of us. And his body never even registered he was dying. That's how fast he died.
It's unreal. Yeah. I couldn't even imagine witnessing that, live. And then, I don't really know how anybody could react in glee. That was the other part that was just like kind of freaked me out, because it's like, really, are we gonna go here? I don't think that's what but now it's all really coming to light, where you see, and who knows if it's just this mind virus crap that they're turning up on the social medias to make sure that we are getting at each other. I don't know. I
think part of it is just that the the people have been conditioned to hate each other. They've been conditioned to hyper focus on their differences, particularly their political differences, their social differences. And so when you have somebody like Charlie Kirk, who, and honestly, I never even followed him before he died. Like, I've seen more about what he said in his death than I ever paid attention to about him.
Yeah, I think a lot of folks have, for sure.
Yeah, and he was just another, I don't know, face in the conservative crowd, right? So I didn't pay attention, and I certainly don't follow. I don't go out of my way to follow people like that, kind of draw the kinds of crowds that he does. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And but people have just cannot put aside what their politics are and the way that they view people that they disagree with. It's not even like they're not even like putting the first foot forward of like trying to find similarities with the people across the table that they're talking to. Instead, they're focusing on their differences. And all of us are actually a lot more similar than we are different. But people have been taught and bought into the hysteria that it's our differences that make us unique, not our similarities that connect us.
Yeah, totally. And then you add to the conditioning that, hey, you get brownie points every time you're a victim, or when you have feelings hurt or whatnot, you're gonna gain this sympathy from whatever shit that they're perpetuating in class, where these psychologists and counselors and people that are actually supposed to tell you, hey, no, sometimes you gotta work for what you got, and you gotta put a little sweat equity in some of this shit.
Yeah,
and
but
and
people want
babied
the
and
easy path.
given.
They just want things handed to them. We've lost truly like people of not everybody. I know some very hardworking people, but there's a work ethic is definitely lacking in the United States.
Oh yeah.
Um, and this isn't what we're going to
I
focus
know.
the
I know. We
podcast
could really
on.
go on a tangent on this one.
Yeah,
I wanted to.
but this is where we are, and people got to figure out how to navigate what's next, because this this wasn't the only shocking murder this week, right? Like there was that Ukrainian lady who was
Well, you know what?
killed.
I think that happened like a month ago. It wasn't the video is that what sparked the whole
Yeah.
outrage. And again, so I feel like it was.
But it feels fresh to everybody.
Sure.
So you just,
Yep.
And that was like all over everything, right?
Yep.
So you go from one, completely violent event to a second absolutely violent event. And even though like it was a while back, still like, how things like get put out there in social media, and all of a sudden it's viral. But that's what happened with this. And so it feels fresh to people. And then you go from that to this, and I just talk about a hit in morale. Truly, that's what it was. And then you have this entire subset of people that are using this not even like in a politically motivated way. It's not even that, but they're celebrating it.
Yeah. Well,
as if it's a personal win for them.
They think a Nazi died. They think a Nazi was killed.
Yeah. The whole thing is gross, and there are days where I'm like, I'm actually not sure I want to be part of humanity. You guys suck. But then I'm like, okay, but you got to be like, talk to people and, oh, good job, and keep going, and but then how does this not weigh you down?
Right. Well, that's just it. Every day, and all this stuff that is happening is not necessarily happening to me necessarily, right? I mean, that kind of stuff is impactful, but my day that I start at the food shelf and go to the work or travel on the airplane and whatever, not all of it is affecting me or my family or my priorities. So I can't too much let it stop me from what my focus is.
Right.
But I do think, going back to this whole thing, like you said, this and then this. What was this before? Oh yeah, that Epstein stuff. And it's like what are we creating some major distractions? And I mean that's the kind of stuff kooky conspiracy theorists say, but damn it, every time we said it, it's been real.
Last time I looked, Massey needed one more signature to get his the thing he was doing about Epstein taken to the floor. One more signature. That's all he needs.
Yeah.
And so, here's the thing, like if somebody else jumps onto this, and so you had a whole bunch of people up till now that haven't really they said that they would do it, but if they don't get everybody they need to be able to actually take it to the floor, then it's all for nothing. So part of me wonders if the people who did sign up for it, this is just another opportunity for them for political theater. Oh, look, we would have done this with you, but you didn't get enough people. You know what I mean? So all they have to do is keep that one person from signing on, and the whole thing's dead in the water.
Yep.
And that's the Epstein list. And who's talking about the Epstein list now? Does it honestly feel a little bit of a betrayal to talk about the Epstein list after something like Charlie Kirk's assassination just happened?
Well, some folks are really putting together the dots, I guess, right? And actually creating that talk. I know that, like I said before, some of the folks like Clint Russell or Dave Smith or um, I don't remember where Tom would say too much about it, but there's a lot of varying opinions. The guys I like to really listen to, Good Morning Liberty, that dude really breaks it down well. And it's like there's no real evidence. So everything is a speculation. But then again, there's quite a bit of things that we speculate and believe are true that Israel is involved with, like, some of the things that have believed and said, now look at the evidence. We have the evidence now of the endless wars and all the bullshit propaganda that they're trying to spill, and then all the money that they're funding into our congressmen. It's like, there's the evidence, but it's, we could say that's evidence, and that sure is hard evidence to me. It's enough to convince me, but you could say that same evidence to somebody who has some completely different view of the world, and like, what do you mean? I guess I don't know. So sure, evidence, hard evidence, what you could prosecute in a court of law with somebody's.
So Candace Owens came out with a thing, and I saw it on Dissident Media. So if you don't follow them, go give them a follow.
Yeah.
But she was talking about how she had conversations with Charlie Kirk, that he was starting to basically pull back his support from Israel, and that he was like literally concerned about his own well-being because his support for Israel was changing.
Yep.
And that was just shortly before this happened.
Yeah.
So do some research.
There was a giant event that he put on, the Turning Point event. I don't know where it was, but he had Tucker and Dave Smith, and he caught all kinds of flack for, especially Tucker, right? Even though Dave drives the point a lot better, but Tucker is a lot widely known. And so he caught all kinds of flack, and he was talking to Kelly,
the Fox News.
Yeah, the old Fox News girl.
Kelly, Megan, or no.
Megyn Kelly, yeah. Megyn Kelly. Yeah. Kelly Megyn. So, and this was right before it all happened too. And so it seemed like it reached a point that wasn't boiling yet, but, was stopped before
Obviously,
it did.
It boiled enough.
Yeah.
I mean, if that's actually connected, there's no way we're ever going to know. But it is kind of one of those mysterious things, like, oh, well, all of a sudden he started to, talk about this differently, and he started to not be as supportive, especially with the kind of audience he had, and super influential. And now he's gone. So, the funny thing about assassinations, though, or martyring somebody, is they almost do better in their death than they did in their life.
Yeah.
This is going to memorialize him for generations.
It is. That's definitely happening. I think Nick, what's going on?
Thought I turned my ringer off.
Oh, Trump just declared Antifa a terrorist organization. We just got breaking news. So,
does he know we're on the podcast?
I think so. I think maybe that's why he sent it to both of us. So, hey, this is in my ear. Well, that's interesting. That sounds a lot like Pam Bondi and talking about the hate speech and all this bullshit. Okay, so here's another ramification of this political violence that, violence is fucking violence, whatever. I think, I do think Candace will find out as well. I think she's on a rampage. So I keep getting distracted by those.
Well, Candace has been shockingly based. Is that the right word? Am I using it appropriately?
I feel
say. Like I'm too much of a generation. Like, this is kind of like borderline boomer trying to talk, Gen Z lingo here.
She's groovy.
Yeah, because she has been so outspoken in things that were counterculture before it was cool to be counterculture. And she lost her job speaking out against Israel
Just
way
asking
back
questions, right?
when.
Yeah.
Yeah, like this isn't so. For her to be like, okay, well now pay attention to this. I mean, I hope she has bodyguards.
Oh, I'm sure she's
Because
not
that's
going.
where this is going. So
Yeah. Yep. And I don't know when it would stop until we really know what really happened.
well, that's the thing. Okay, so when you do something like this, the awful and as violent as the way Charlie Kirk died, and you don't even have to agree with everything that he said to agree that the way that he died in the manner that he did was awful and violent. But this is the kind of thing that his friends around him, his true friends, and he may not have really understood what that meant in his life. But now that he's gone, like this isn't something that his true friends are ever going to be able to walk away from ever. This is, they're not going to. And so if somebody like Candace or Tucker or whoever, they get to they're not going to let this go, because this happened on live TV in front
Yeah.
of his kids.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Oh, no doubt.
who
She's
does
definitely
that?
taking it personal and is going to do everything in her power. I just feel like the folks with the power, the law enforcement, and they're all could be part of this whole cover up. And so, how do you
Oh yeah. Okay,
ever?
so speaking of that, let's move on to the next topic, because if you haven't heard yet about Project Arctic Frost,
Yeah.
and you need to do some research, because they uncovered that there was a, oh shoot, what's it called, a whistleblower. Sorry, words. A whistleblower came forward and said that they had over 90 conservative groups that have been actively infiltrated by the feds, and Turning Point USA was one of them. And they're coming out with the information now, and they're having the hearings like literally right now about Project Arctic Frost, and
Wanna
how that the feds were weaponized and used against groups of people, that to, I don't know, you jump to the conclusion what they were there for. It's probably nothing good. Like, why would they? Why would you have a Fed infiltrate a group? It's not to go and
keep the peace?
yeah.
Like I think that's how they justify it, though. Here's the thing. So I always wonder, how do you convince a mass of these young men to carry this stuff out? I do believe that they're under the impression that they are there to keep the peace. Maybe a handful of them, right? With a couple of them with the right directives to actually create the chaos.
No. Okay.
I don't
So
know.
this is. I don't think it's to keep the peace. You don't have to convince people, because then that would be like tapping into their inner good to ask them to, like, we're here to keep the peace. Instead, what they are doing is that they are tapping into people's inner violent nature. Did I just freeze up?
So recruiting, I can still hear you, but you're saying like
Okay.
recruiting the
No.
yeah,
So everybody, no matter who you are, it is somewhere within you has a. Sorry, I look really silly.
yeah.
Has a just this human side of you that can become violent under the right circumstances. Everybody has that, right? And when you are asking a group of people to, like, hey, we need you to go and pretend you're somebody else in this and get cozy with these people, you're not asking them to do it to keep the peace. You're asking them to do it because you realize that they already have this natural inclination to not like them. That's what they're tapping into, right? That it's conditioning enemies of people, of citizens of each other, where we don't need to be. We don't need to be enemies. And so, no, I don't think that it's like they don't have to convince them to go keep the peace. all they're doing is just utilizing their natural violent instincts and to go and target people that they already naturally disagree with. And then go pretend you're friends and go find out, fill in the blank, whatever it is, or I mean, just be disruptive. So if you get into an organization and you get into, you gain the trust and you're doing it falsely, but you're gaining their trust, and you get into, management or any of this, or you have access to things that you hadn't had access to before, truly to just derail their whatever it is they're working on, you just have to be disruptive.
Yeah.
And it throws everything off.
Sure.
They're not good. None of these are good people. None of these federal agents that are doing this actively, voluntarily infiltrating these groups of people are doing so out of the kindness of their heart or for good faith reasons. None of them are.
Well, it's depressing. So we have a video of Senator, what's his name? Chuck Grassley. So I'm going to share my screen real quick and then make that big.
Predecessor left you an FBI infected with politics. I'm going to provide examples of that today, including making public new whistleblower records. At your nomination hearing, I made public records that whistleblowers provided me about Arctic Frost. Arctic Frost was the FBI case
Man, some of these people are painful
and
to listen
approved
to.
by antitrust Trump FBI agent Tebow.
Chuck Grassley's 92 years old.
Arctic Frost then became Jack Smith's Electra case against then Citizen Trump and now President Trump. These new records show that Arctic Frost was much broader than just an electoral matter. The case was expanded to Republican organizations. Some examples of the group that Ray FBI sought to place under political investigation included the Republican National Committee, Republican Attorney General's Association, and various Trump political groups. In total, 92 Republican targets, including Republican groups and Republican-linked individuals, were placed under investigative scope of Arctic Frost. On that political list was one of Charlie Kirk's groups, Turning Point USA. Well,
okay.
So what's Cash? Can we watch? Keep watching.
Yeah, that was the very beginning. So let's try that again.
It's well understood. Well, it's well understood that your predecessor left you an FBI.
That's who he was talking to, is Cash.
Yeah. Well,
so there's some back and forth. Yeah.
Yes. I have a follow up next week about.
Well, you should also see Massey had Cash under fire today as well.
Because the Epstein list.
Yeah, because of the list, and
I'm really glad he's not leaving that, letting that go.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, and here's the thing: we call it the list, and I guess you accumulate names of people. That's what a list is. But it's like, is there some piece of paper somewhere that this is the Epstein list? Like it's what, and there it is. Like, I don't know, but
I think probably what happened is that they have the flight logs, they have the money exchanges, they have communications, that kind of stuff, and through all of that, you can get a pretty good picture of who did what, and that. So that's where the list. Maybe it wasn't like he literally kept a list in his, but maybe he did. I don't know.
Maybe, and I guess with this last development, month or so ago, Ghislaine Maxwell gets out of her place and goes to some minimum security prison after chatting with FBI. So maybe I can't give them the benefit of the doubt. I used to be able to. Like, hey, look at this text message shit that they're sending us in this rifle and the blanket. It's all of, something to throw, even though they got the hundreds of video cameras around the campus and all this stuff. For going back to the Charlie Kirk thing, right? But this stuff, the FBI just feeds us. I feel like the freaking passport that was found at Ground Zero. All this shit is just a dumb distraction bullshit. But that stuff, sorry. But that's how I feel like that. All this stuff that they're feeding us. When are we going to find out that it was fake, or are we going to find out that it was fake? I really.
What'll happen is that 75 years from now, if there's the United States of America still left, if I'm being honest, because that's the mood.
Yeah.
That they'll have made these files, they'll declassify them, and then they'll be like, oh shoot, all those conspiracy theorists, they were right all along. You know what I mean? Because that's what they're doing now. They're just declassifying things. Why are they doing that now? Because all the people that were impacted by that or involved in that are gone.
Yeah.
Like there's nobody left. The only thing that they could possibly do with it now is use it for their own political advantage.
And when you ask normies, so do you think they're capable of still pulling this stuff off now? Oh, no way. Not Amy Klobuchar. No way. Not Ted Cruz. Like, seriously? What kind of, and it's so funny to see the left versus the right, and they just go back and forth. And it's like, you guys are both part of the same retarded bird. Like, okay, whatever. I don't know how else to convince. I guess I gotta stop using the vulgar words and stuff. That'll probably help the message, but I get a little ticked off sometimes.
We're not actually tapping.
Oh, you went silent almost.
Did I just know?
Oh, yeah, for a minute.
It's our agent, our federal agent.
Yeah. Infiltrating.
Yeah. So I don't know.
When we were talking about, do you think infiltrating the FBI infiltrating these conservative groups, and then before we were talking about, I don't know, do you think it could infiltrate our party? And
I do, absolutely. You look at anybody that's kind of familiar with inner Libertarian Party politics at this point in time knows what a disaster this is, right? And I don't even feel bad saying that anymore. I'm the chair of the state party in Minnesota, and the Libertarian National Committee cannot get its crap together. Yeah. You guys have, we have this huge, thing going on all the way around us. There's big problems, and you guys are fighting over scraps on the table. Not even their scraps. They're not even throwing you their scraps at this point in time. They're just, you're I don't know. I get really so there are a number of people, and that since the whole time I've been involved in the party, that no matter what you say, no matter how you try to work with them, no matter what you do, no matter who you are, it doesn't matter. They hate you. They won't work with you. They trash talk you. They lie about you. They actively sabotage everything that you're doing. And those are the people that I think that we should have our hyper focus on. Why are you acting like this? They're actively spreading dissension, actively spreading, just that, maybe that natural instinct of disliking other people I was talking about earlier, right? They're just, why? Part of being free is having the self-discipline to keep your freedom, and these people are acting like crap.
Yeah. Well, I guess I totally know some examples of what you're just mentioning, within our party in the last few years. And I absolutely am not even a member of the National Party because I don't believe that. I think just like you said, I don't know who to trust up there. or in there. A couple of the folks, like our regional guys, that have made some efforts to actually quell this crap. I think they're doing as much as they can. I still don't know if whatever efforts I can do, I want to focus more locally. Okay, that's just
I think
politically,
really,
that's how I am, right? Whatever.
That's the solution to all of this.
Yeah.
We can't make people act right. We can't make people act with respect and discipline and treat others around them with dignity. You can't make people do that. So focus on the things that you can do, like, so your local community. I find great fulfillment in doing things and being part of, serving groups of people, like things that we're doing, within the community, and like being a part of that. It makes me feel good about doing something because I'm actively working on something I can control, and it's helping people, so this political I don't know, theater that we're participating in, I don't know, somebody throw some like
Massey actually
has out there, because man, this has been a tough week.
Massey talked about it nicely, and we'll talk about dissident media and Dan Smots. I think he's the big video creator in that group. Man, he made a really sweet video with Tom Woods talking about Thomas Massey, and I don't know if you've seen it or not.
Yeah, I watched it.
Oh, it's just crazy. And so the thing is okay, he's a Republican. Yeah, Ron Paul was a Republican. But they're individuals, right? And that's how I feel like. That's why honestly, the whole party thing to me is, well, there's you and Nick and Eric and the folks, Joey. I don't want to miss anybody, but there's a good core of folks that we're just not going to quit, and this is our business, And so I really think that I can't quit on you guys, so I'm not going anywhere with this.
That's and that's how I feel, and it's similar to I often and this is like, we're not even, I don't know, we're still live, but we're
whatever.
We're just kind of BSing.
There's 3 people watching us right now. So
well, we didn't connect to we have like quite a few on Twitter, but it didn't connect to Twitter for some reason. So but this is similar, I feel like, to being in the Army. And maybe you remember, like, when your time in the military, like there's just situations that you're in that just suck. Like there's no getting around it. You're absolutely miserable. There's nothing you can do about it, except just keep on going and keep, doing whatever it is you're doing and try to get through it. And
I knew I could find something in my office. There's a couple things, but this is one of them that, fuck it.
No. Yeah, but this is very similar, I feel like, to trauma bonding.
Yeah.
And when you're like, you have your people on the right and the left, and no matter what the situation is, nobody's having fun, but we just keep trudging through this. You do it because the person to the right and to the left of you. That's what keeps you going. And I feel like that's where I am. Like I can't walk away as sometimes I want to. Mm-hmm. Honestly, if I'm being totally honest, but because then you guys would be, I can't walk away from you guys. That's what it comes down to.
Well, so. I appreciate that, and I feel the exact same way, that I don't feel like I'm contributing a whole lot, but enough, right? Where I think we're trying to really get the message out, and that's really kind of what we're doing here, and talk about violence and rejecting violence, and our non-aggression principle is the basis of, how we operate. And you talk about just chatting with somebody and then becoming their neighbor and then sharing some property with them or doing things like this. And then how can you just be a good neighbor or be a good person, be a good community member? And
just go be a good person. Smile at somebody, tell them they look nice today. I don't know, maybe if you're a dude, don't say it to a woman, they think you're creepy.
Yeah,
the women watching, just go like, oh, you look so nice today. Good job. Or, thank
The
you for all your
smiles.
hard work. Or I had I can't remember, it was like at a grocery store or something, or somebody, I held the door for somebody and they walked through. And instead of just saying thank you, they said, hey, I appreciate you. So take it up a notch. Just spread the love,
Yep.
because that's what we
Absolutely.
need more right now. Is we just need more love. So maybe that's enough kumbaya though this evening. So if you're interested, I feel a little hypocritical even putting this out there right now. If you're interested in joining the party and coming and embrace the suck with us, lpmn.org.
Yeah. And it's fun. It's I really think the time is now. Well, even though it's a long now, because I thought that in 2020 when I joined and when I really got involved, I thought the time was now. So it's now. It's still now. Like
still now.
Folks are really turning around, and I really think the political rhetoric and all this crap is getting so heated that folks are starting to pay attention. That's all we really wanted, is get out of your echo chamber and pay attention to a few other things.
I want more than that at this point. I want people to not just pay attention, but to do something about it. Oh no!
I think that's all, but that's the first step. Well, you froze, and then you went really super fast for a sec. I don't know. Maybe we're totally getting throttled.
Well, it's our age. It's the Fed. They're watching. I do want to, we had a comment pop up really fast.
Oh,
and so opinions on Waltz running again. What happened to No More Kings? Oh, I'm sorry. You were confused. They meant no more kings for them because they want to be the king. For us peasants, though, they get to do whatever they want. So
I forget. I just watched a really cool cut up video of Walls's campaign ad, and then strict news facts or whatever about our education and this, and how about the 19? I won't be surprised because I know how Minnesotans vote, but gosh, there's so much meat.
Well, I don't think actually. I don't know. Anyways, that's a story for another.
It will be. I mean, I don't know. I will be sad if he gets reelected, but I think folks are just like Amy Klobuchar, and I know that Nick says that she did a pretty good job with Cash today. That's great. She can definitely.
Well, there's no denying that she is a professional. She knows what she's doing.
Yeah.
That's why she does so well, because she's very well polished.
Yeah. And one last thing, if anybody's around tomorrow night, and if the weather's all right, the Fall Roundup Parade is happening in North St. Paul, and I'll be walking down there with the food shelf, and it's usually a pretty big event in North St. Paul. Last year it was canceled because of rain, and looks like it's going to have a thunderstorm tomorrow too, so we'll see what happens. But lpmn.org.
See you later.